to our evening flow service, a very special one. It's a session, a seminar that I believe will support and help you and transform your thinking for the better in many directions, in many ways. And so we cannot do such a program without committing it first to the Lord. I believe that this is going to be a huge benefit, but we want God's wisdom, God's direction, God's guidance in speaking through the speaker and us also hearing what is necessary for the church, for our lives, for our families. So if you may stand with me, let us ask Holy Spirit to take over this service. 2 or 3 are here, so he is present. Man tarabaka zwande rebeke si ando kozianda. Ribaka asunde rebeke si ando kosko unde rebeke si anda. Rabasakatu rabakatiande. Rabando kosonde rebeke si anda. Holy Spirit, you are here. Maroboko sokoto rebeke eskede. Rabaka aski ente rebeke ziando ko rebeke eskede. Rabaka aski antoroboko oski ande rebeke ziando kosoto. Rabaka siande rebeke sianda ka asku rebeke eskede. Rabaka aski enti ribiando roboko oska andeya. Roboko oskotuande rebeke eskiando robosko onte kerebianta. Holy Spirit, you are here. And we know you are here because 2 or 3 have come in agreement. Therefore, Lord, magnify yourself in this evening session, evening service. That though it is not the usual, your power, your presence, your spirit is upon this program. Therefore, take over. Open our ears to hear and speak through your servant as he teaches us that which we need to know. You've gifted him with many things, and he has offered himself to bless us with what you've gifted him with. We glorify you in this service, and we praise your name, and we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated. So this evening is a very exciting one. I don't know when we started, but a few months ago we began the journey of doing we actually haven't coined it, but I would coin it life coaching seminars, different aspects of life. So I call it life coaching seminars that the church has been presenting. We started with, Pastor Eric, you have to help me here. I don't remember all of it by heart, but it started with the advanced career advancements with Pastor Eric, human resources. And then we went to, I know we did immigration, and then we did another one. A car, yes, car auto mechanic as well. And I think this is the 4th one now, I believe, which is AI and Cybersecurity seminar. We are live. For those who are wondering, we will be live because we want to have this on record. And in 2 weeks, we'll have another one called How to Start Your Business and How to Scale That Business to be doing more and making more out of that business. We have very successful people within all nations, and so we are blessed to have some of them in our branch. And so today, it is exciting because it is exactly what we live in, technology age. And over the last few months alone, our congregational members have been, what do you call it? Some of them have been hacked due to pressing the wrong link, looking at the wrong thing, things that you didn't even think were necessarily possible to hack you. And then on top of that, we have children growing up whom, if they can adventure in this area, it would really set them up for a great career. And so, Brother Sean and I had a discussion over the few months here and there about possibly doing something like this. And I'm careful to mention his field because it's actually very, very lucrative. Due to the kind of work, I can't mention exactly where he works because it's cybersecurity, and security is of great, great importance. But what he does, he's at the very top of it, at his level. He's at the highest level you can possibly be at in that field. And he's really, really good at what he does. On the side, he also has his own business where people service him and his company to also do what he does and to make sure measures are secured within these companies. And so he's very excited to share with us different aspects of these things that can help us and assist us that we would not have even thought of. And so please, with a great excitement and a clap offering, please help me welcome Brother Sean Henry. You're clapping like you are jealous. Clap better now.
Thank you, Pastor. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, church. I just want to say thanks for this opportunity for me to make this presentation today. It's an honor. It's an honor for me to do this because it's not so much because of me. It's because of the goodness of God and, you know, what God has done in my life throughout the years. You know, I think He has given me some skills. It will help me along the way, and I'm always happy to share knowledge because knowledge should be shared with everybody. All right? Okay, so again, thanks for having me. So today we'll be talking about cybersecurity and AI, and we know the time we're living in today is about technology. There's a lot of technology. There's a lot of things that are happening. You hear these companies get hacked. You hear persons get hacked in different ways, and I think it's good for us as a church because we're not exempt from hackers. All right, wherever they can hack, wherever they can get some money, wherever they can compromise your identification, they will do it. And compromise your identification may not only be because they want some money, but because they can use that identification to do other things. All right, and some of that stuff we'll go through today. Amen. You know, I've done this many times, but each time you do it, you still feel a little jitters, but God will take us through. Amen? I hope you will help. So I want to make this interactive. So I don't want to just be talking. If you have questions, you ask questions. If something you don't understand, you can let me know, and I will, and I will try my best, because usually when I do this, I'm in front of a lot of technical persons. So I will try my best to make sure the terminologies that I use are fitting for us. All right? So you know, I'm at my laptop. Okay. All right. So, welcome. Who am I? Most of you know me as Brother Sean. However, when I'm not in church, I'm doing my day-to-day. I'm a cybersecurity professional. And what gives me the right to be able to speak on this topic is I have, just a little bit about me, I have over 20 years worth of experience in technology and cybersecurity. I have just about 20 years experience dealing with, and I've been dealing with technology from a very tender age. Just about, 14, I got involved in technology. And I'm still involved. I haven't worked in any other field other than technology. I went to college, I studied technology I did a lot of studies after technology. After I finished college, university, and I've worked in technology, worked in cybersecurity for many, many, many years. I hold some of the higher designation within cybersecurity that is there, right? And I give God thanks for that, because it's because of Him that I was able to achieve those milestones. So I think that would give me a little authority to speak on cybersecurity and awareness, all right? So that is a little bit about me. Again, if you have questions when I'm going, if there's something you don't understand, please, you can ask. You should be able to ask your questions, and I will answer to the best of my ability. And let's make this as interactive as possible, so we can learn as much as we can, because knowledge is power. All right. You can go to the next slide. Okay. So within cybersecurity, it's just to give some foundational knowledge and some foundational understanding before we actually dive a little deeper into cybersecurity and AI. So cybersecurity is built on 3 pillars. It doesn't matter, even AI is built on 3 pillars, right? As somebody who wants to, let's say, hack somebody, there's 3 things they're trying to do at all times. So that's why we call it this in cybersecurity terms. They call it the CIA, which is the C for confidentiality. So they're trying to breach the confidentiality of, let's say, your private data, because they shouldn't have access, so they're trying to get access. So that's your confidentiality. The integrity means the integrity of the data. So they'll try to see how they can change the data. Because, let's say, for instance, somebody gets your information, let's say your identity, they will try to use the identity, change it to fit whatever need that they want. So that means they will then change the integrity of that information. And a lot of companies today, you don't want the integrity of your information, or let's say if you're dealing with clients, you don't want your client information, the integrity of that information to be breached, because that can be dangerous. And that can ruin your reputation. And that is not good for business, and that is not good for us as a person. Because if somebody it's just not long ago, somebody was dealing with somebody, and they were saying that they showed me a LinkedIn profile. It had their picture, but it wasn't them. The profession, it has nothing to do about them, but their picture was there, and their name was there. So that's the integrity that a person is breached right there. And also, the third one is availability. So hackers, in my terms, we would call them badmins. What they try to do is once they get a hold of the information, they can make sure it's not available to you. Because let's say we have a big bank, one of the big banks in Canada, and nobody can use the ATM machines, or nobody can access their banking information. If a hacker gets to do that, it means the information is not available. So that is the CIA of the 3 pillars that cybersecurity, information security stands on. And just to clarify, there's a difference between cybersecurity and information security. I'm just building some foundation here so we can understand, all right? So the difference is information security is a very broad area. It deals with everything. It deals with as far as the kind of door you would put in a building, right? It goes from it deals with physical security also, but cybersecurity deals with anything that happens over the internet. So cybersecurity is a part of information security. So they're not the same thing. We hear cyber, we hear information. Sometimes people use it interchangeably, but they're not. They're actually not the same thing. Cybersecurity deals with anything that's happening over the internet, over the wire, and information security is more broad because it also includes physical security. All right. Next slide, please. All right. So still a little more foundational information here. So networking and cybersecurity. And the reason I put networking here is because, let's say, because of how the world is today, everything is connected. And it's connected via a network, right? So the internet, even if you know how the internet started, it started with one person. There was basically one network. So today we have a whole plethora of networks connected, interconnected. That's called the internet. Right? So that's what I'm saying. That's why I said networking. So networking is very important part of, let's say, security or cybersecurity because if it's not connected, if they're not all connected together, you can have isolation of network. Because before we had, let's say, the internet, and persons, there was a term they call sneaker net, where persons would, when we wanted to give and transfer information from point A to point B, would physically take it and we walk it over. But because of networking now, there are different type of network. We're not going to get into networking and even infrastructure, right? Because of that, it allows interconnectivity, and with interconnectivity, you have something they call trust. So we build trust. So let's look at all nations. All nations have many churches around Canada, or say around the world. But they're all nations, so they're connected together. They share information. That means they're connected together. So the internet is the same way, it's all interconnected. However, within that interconnection, there are still, everybody don't have the same, the same access to everything. Right? So this is what cybersecurity does. It tries to protect different areas that persons should not have access to. But we have hackers who would try to breach that access, so they could, I don't know, whether they're gonna take information or whether they're gonna do something that's called a ransomware, where they take that information from you and you have to pay them a fee to get that information back. All right? So networking, cybersecurity, there's a connection. All right? And we talk about infrastructure. So let's look at this building. When we talk about this building is a structure. It's an infrastructure, right? But it has doors. It has windows, right? So it makes up an infrastructure. So back in the day, you'll probably hear a term they call LAN, which would be something called like a local area network. I'm still in foundation knowledge here, just doing foundation, so we can understand when we start to talk about other things, we can understand, some of these terminologies, so we can, bring it into one, because I'm gonna try to bring it all in one place at the end of the day, right? So you have your infrastructure, which is this church. But the church have doors, it has windows, right? And we can protect the building, because in cybersecurity, you have something called defense in depth, meaning you defend not by just, let's say we have $1 million on the podium here. All right? And if there's only a lock on the door, the front door, somebody gets in, they can come straight to the $1 million, right? Now, if you have defense in depth, meaning you have the front door, which is locked. Or maybe you may have a fence. Then you have the alarm system. You have the door, and those are different ways. Those are different ways of different ways of defense. So if they get past the fence, they get past the door. We may have a safe in the room somewhere in the back with combination. So even if they get in, they may not be able to access the $1 million. All right? So cybersecurity criminals is just about getting access to information, resources that they should not have access to. That's what they try to do. So we have two type of infrastructure. So you have on-prem, which is on-premises, meaning I want to say it's not connected. It's not connected to the internet. And then we'll have those infrastructures that's actually in. And we all hear, you start to hear about the term cloud. Right? So you have everything now. Everything we hear now is a cloud. Everything is in the cloud. So persons had a lot of data centers around, right? So now persons are not moving from, and those would be your on-premises infrastructure. Right? I'm getting somewhere. Just bear with me. I'm getting somewhere, right? And now we hear a lot of persons moving away from the cloud, moving away from on-prem infrastructure, and then moving their resources or their assets into the cloud. So they use Microsoft, they use Google, and those are some of the bigger companies that will hold your infrastructure within the cloud. All right? So you have the three main terms, which would be PaaS, which is platform as a service. And then you have SaaS. So the one I'll talk more about is the SaaS, because you have, most of us use SaaS, because for instance, you use Gmail, right? You use Gmail, you use Yahoo, any online service that you have to log into, right? That doesn't require, let's say, an operating system, which is like Microsoft Windows or your Mac OS operating system. You just go straight to an application, right? That's software as a service, meaning you don't have to control, you don't have to do anything. All you do, you log into online and you log into, let's say, a particular application, and it works, and you're good to go. Now, if it's on-prem, it may be different, because you may have to have an application server that will house the application. Then you have access control. Then there's a whole bunch of stuff you would have to put on top of that before persons can even access it. All right. Now, the thing is, in today's world, everybody's moving their infrastructure to the cloud. All right. But when moving infrastructure, there's still a lot of risk that are involved. Persons still get to that information. And those big cloud providers, they would say to you, you're still responsible for your information. They're responsible for the infrastructure, because you hear a lot of hacks where certain infrastructure is not available, certain software got hacked, and they got information leaked. And that information was sitting in the cloud somewhere on, let's say, a Microsoft or Google platform. However, they tell you they're not responsible. So that means you still have to protect that information that is in the cloud. A lot of us, we use WhatsApp. We use WhatsApp chat. A lot of companies and a lot of organizations, I know they use WhatsApp to communicate, to send documents. But there are times when we understand WhatsApp get hacked. All right? And there is a reason for that. The reason why, and there's a reason for that. Because the proper controls or the proper knowledge may not be given to persons, so they could be careful and be mindful of how they can prevent these hacks from happening. All right? All right, next slide. All right, so a lot of times we see persons, we hear about hacking, or somebody get hacked, or a hacker, a malicious, something happened. It's normally from malware or a virus. That's what caused there are other ways that you can get hacked. However, what's happening today, you see at least 90% of companies that get hacked is because of malicious codes, malware. And malware can come in the form of links. Sometimes somebody, even on WhatsApp, somebody send you a link, and they're not sure, and you click on the link. Then that means that if there's malicious code, embedded in that link, then there's a lot, you can get that, the hacker will then grab your information and then you can get hacked, all right? Another way is through images, right? Somebody may send you a nice picture of something, you know, a nice, for instance, okay, let's say I'm on, okay, I'll get to that. Just know that images, all right, you can actually embed codes in images also, and the images can have those codes. You click on that image, and there's malicious codes embedded in that image. So sometimes somebody sends you a picture of somebody, and that may happen because when a hack happens, it doesn't happen, you know, when you watch a TV, you see a person sitting behind a computer and they type in really fast, and that's not how it really happens. There's a process. There's levels to it. It's not just, the first stage is reconnaissance. That means what they're going to do, they're going to try to get information about you, okay? And I do reconnaissance. And one of the easiest way to get information about somebody, or anybody rather, the first place I go to is social media. You know why? Because people put everything on social media. Everything about themselves, they put it on social media. So if I'm trying to get information about someone, I'm going to go straight to social media. So I can say, all right, I'm trying to get some information about pastor. Then I realize he's a pastor. So that means, okay, he should have some information. He should have access to some information that I would like. He's married. This is his wife's name. He has children. So all information you need about this person is right there. So you don't have to go very far. You just go to social media, do a scrape for that person, the information is right there. Then, let's say I realize he's into, I don't know, he likes dogs. And he's probably into a particular type of dog. I decide, okay, I want to hack his phone. I want to get access to his phone or his computer. I'll send him an email with, like, say, a nice dog, the kind of dog he may be interested in. But I embed codes in that image. He clicks on it, boom, I got him. Right? So social media is good and it's bad. Okay? And we have we have voice capture and playback. All right? So there were times, I don't know if you ever got a phone call and the person on the other end, they're not answering, they're not saying anything. You're just saying hello, hello, hello. Your voice can get captured. And I'll tell you how that can be used in an attack a little bit later. And it depends on who you are. Because I'll call you and you're saying hello, hello, I capture your voice. Then I can actually use that voice as an attack later. All right, on you. All right? So these are some of the ways, like malware is malicious codes that's placed into like links, images. Not so much the voice capture. That is more a physical. That's more a physical way of getting to somebody. Next slide, please. Somebody has a question? Say again? Okay. So if you have a question, you can write it down. Okay. All right, next slide, please. All right, so this is what I mentioned a little bit earlier, steganography. And this is where you embed codes, malicious codes in images. Because a lot of time people trust, you probably hear you can get hacked by a link, but you never hear you can get hacked by an image, by clicking on an image. But the same code you can embed in a link, you can embed that same code, that malicious code in an image, and that can be embedded in the image also. Now, the reason this is important because I know steganography has been around for a long time, and this is a way people hide. They used to hide stuff. So if we want to say back in the Roman days where they had something they call encryption, they hide stuff in plain sight. So they may use an image and they would put something in the image that they use to decrypt an image, right? So encryption, decryption. So what encryption really is getting a message in a plain text, readable, something you can actually read, and convert it to something that's not really readable. All right, we're not going to get into encryption. If somebody has a question, I'll probably go a little further in that. But just know, you can not only get hacked by clicking a link, you can get hacked by clicking on images also. And that is important to know, because a lot of people don't know that. Because you may just think, let's say your WhatsApp, because a lot of people use WhatsApp, or your email get hacked, and somebody know that your, let's say, Pastor Kofi, they know your daughter or your son, and they know like you have a granddaughter, and they can take that image and they'll send it to you via what they say they hack your WhatsApp. They can send that to you via WhatsApp, and they will grab that information, and they can use that to compromise your credentials within. You can compromise your phone, whatever, and so when they embed codes in those things, the codes a lot of times they will take different forms. All right, they can do different things, and we'll see what happens as we go on. Next slide. All right, now the big one. This is the big boy. Social engineering. So, like I said earlier, a lot of times when people get hacked, it's via social media. So they call social engineering, where they can use emails, they can use a voice call, and they can use that to manipulate you and to get certain access from you via social engineering. It can be a phone call. Somebody can call you and they can use that to finesse you, and they will get certain information from you, right? Because some hackers are pretty smart, right? They will call you, and let's say they already did some kind of reconnaissance on you, and they know you're working. Let's say you're a receptionist, and you may have access to, let's say, the office at a certain time, right? They'll call you and they will finesse you, and they will, pretend they'll pretend to be other people, just for you to give them information that they need, maybe just to get past security or get in the building, so they could have that first level of access. Because I do something also that's called penetration testing, right? And I not only do penetration testing, or what penetration testing is, or penetration analysis is you try to get into somebody's network or somebody's business via, let's say, over the internet, and without having a lot of knowledge. And like I said, for that happens, you have to do reconnaissance first, meaning you gotta gather information. You have to get information about that company before you can actually do that. And so penetration testing is not only over the wire. It happens in person too, because there's something they call dumpster diving. Because a lot of times, let's say you're a company or you're an individual, and you get your bank statement, and then you take that bank statement and you throw it in the trash. There are personal information on that bank statement. Now, if I want to know something about you, I may be the person's collecting your garbage. Then I come to your house and I take your garbage and I go through your garbage. Then I find something about you in the garbage. Then I can use that against you. Right? A lot of people don't think about that. So that's why anything that has like your personally identifiable information, which is PII, that's something you just don't leave. You destroy it. You try as much as destroy it. You can burn it. You can rip it in many pieces if you want. But you should get rid of that information, because you never know who's trying to get your identity, right? And all of us, every one of us, we have an identity. And when a hack happens, it is always tied to somebody or something. It just doesn't happen out of thin air. It happens from somebody something which has an identity. You must be able to identify. You must be identifiable, right? Because if a hacker wants to get into a company, that hacker would need some sort of credentials, right? And there is something they call elevation of privilege, elevation of rights. They get that low-level access, and they find a way to elevate it to a level where they have access to the greater assets. But we'll get into that a little later. Is everybody okay? Right? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we look at that access and identity protection. So we just spoke about access and persons getting access to your information, person getting access to you. Now, the thing about it, there are different ways you can protect yourself from person getting access to you. Is it foolproof? Is it 100%? No. So that's why I mentioned earlier that cybersecurity has something called defense in depth. You can't use one method to defend yourself. Sometimes you have to use many layers to defend yourself or protect your identity or protect your assets. Because if you use one, then that one method, somebody get access to that one method, then they get access to everything. So then that's why you have to use different layers of protection. And once they get access to one, then there's the next barrier, then there's the next barrier, then there's the next barrier, right? Because like I said, hacking doesn't happen, well, overnight, right? Again, it depends, right? Most of the hacking that you see happening that you hear about, it doesn't really happen overnight. It takes time. And that reconnaissance piece takes a lot of time, and they will get a lot of information about it. They gather that information about you, and then they will know how they should attack you. So, I mentioned your identity is very important. You should always protect your identity because your identity can be used against you. Your identity can be used to achieve another goal. Okay, let's say for instance, I, as a hacker, get access to, let's say, your computer. And I can use that computer. Or I try to access, let's say, 100 different computers. Because I'm going to use 100 different computers to carry out an attack on somebody else's computer or somebody else's network somewhere else. I can do that. And in the cyber world, they call it the zombie attack. And what that means is I get access to your computer. I get access to 100 computers. So what I need from that is the processing power. I need the memory and I need the processing power of those machines. And I'm going to channel all that processing power and memory and resources from those devices, and I'm going to use that to hack somebody else. So then your computer is involved in a zombie attack. All right? Now, there was a situation not long ago, right in Canada here, where we had, there was a hacker who got access to 250 computers, and they used a computer to hack somebody else and carry out something called like a denial of service attack on another company, meaning there's a particular service that company used, so it used those machines to deny the service, to stop the service from running. Okay? And when the source of the hack was found, they found out what the source of the hack was. Everybody's machine that was used in the hack, they get in touch with everybody, the 250 persons. Because they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Some of the persons say, I don't know anything about hacking. What do you talk? Some people were like, what are you talking about? But your computer was used in a hack. And then they will find, because there's always going to be a trail. And I say to people all the time like this, it's not if you're going to get caught, it's when you're going to get caught. Hackers don't care if they get caught. They don't care, because that's their job. When you do something, especially over the internet, is not if you're going to get caught, but when you're going to get caught. Right? I always said this to people. It's going to happen, but when? It may take years, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. So That's why it's important for you to protect your identity. Protect yourself, because you can be involved in a crime that you had no idea. You didn't know, you were like, you had no idea, right? And your machine that you use, whether it's your phone, any kind of mobile device, can be used as a part of an attack on other, for something, may not even be local, maybe something in a different country. All right? So, if we're talking about your identity, we all know and understand what's your identity, right? Everybody understands what's an identity, and everybody has a unique identity, because we're not all the same. Everybody's different in some way. Some of us are taller than others, some of us are lighter shades, some of us are, like me, some of us are a little bigger than others, right? But we have an identity. It's something that identifies us. And we have unique characteristics about us that identify you from the other person. So it's up to us to protect our identity. We have to be aware of how to protect our identity, because again, your identity can be used to do a lot of different things. For instance, I can get your identity. If I get enough information about you, I can apply for a loan. I might check you out and you have good credit. Okay, let me try to use this person, and I can use your identity, and I can use you to get a loan. Because I'm not sure if you ever heard, it happens in Canada so much, and also in the US, where persons get somebody's identity, and they use that identity to apply for loans, buy stuff, buy homes. And when it catch up to you, like, what do you say? You're lost. But again, you have to learn to protect your identity. All right? And today we live in a digital age where all of us, we have a cell phone, we have some sort of electronic device that we use. We have smartphones, we have smart homes. All right? But having those things, and we don't understand how to protect ourselves with those things, we could find ourselves in situations where it can get really real pretty fast. All right? So, if we talk about passwords, I don't believe so much in passwords today, but I'm going to mention password because a lot of us still use passwords. It's not something I really believe in, right? And again, if I'm an attacker, a password is very easy to guess, especially if I get enough information about you. Because a lot of us, we use, let's say, a child's name, our middle name. We use something that is close to us because we want to remember. Right? One day I heard my wife's password, and it said 2 kids. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's a password. Right? So if I get enough information, I can guess. So even in public spaces where we use emails and we use different things, the thing is, there is no what we call a clipping level. In security, there's something they call a clipping level, meaning if you're not part of an organization that has it enforced, you can try and try and try until you get through. There is no, if you try 10 times, it will lock you out for a certain amount of time. It will allow you to try and try and try again. Now they have an attack they call brute force attack. I have access to some software that does stuff like that. So it'll run like a query, and it will query the password, and it will hack the password. It depends on the kind of password that you have set. So it can crack a password, and just depends on the password, in the matter of less than a minute. It depends. Less than a minute, and it's passwords. Okay, and there's a password cracker. And those are applications out there. Some of it is free, some of it you pay for. But they do have free ones out there that you can actually use. I'm not telling you to go out there and do it. I'm just saying. But they do have passwords. They have password crackers that you can actually use. So that's what I'm saying to you. I don't really use. I'm not a believer in passwords, right? Because again, password easy guessable. Because again, persons use stuff that are close to them. And if I try, that's okay. So then, and they have something called like a dictionary that hackers also use. And that dictionary has in a whole bunch of combinations of characters and names. So what they will do, they'll run your password through that until it finds a match. And I got you, but I got your password. Right? I got your password, I got your username. I can now log into whatever I need, whatever you have that's using those credentials. All right? So, now, so I think there's biometrics or password, passkey, which is more, which is better. I would say biometrics. Password is easily crackable, right? But if you use biometrics, and what biometrics is, you're using your body parts to authenticate. And authenticate just means for you to get access to a resource. And you can use your fingerprint. A lot of us know we have your iPhone. You can use your face scan. I remember just the other day, was my son. He saw me take up my phone and I did this, and he opened my phone. He was like, what was that? So he took it and he put it in his face. It didn't open. So that he was kind of, mesmerized by it, right? However, even in the biometrics, there are people can still get in, right? Because if you're, let's say, I want to get your information, I can get your phone, I can put it across your face, it will still open. Or I can get a finger, let's say you're using a finger thumbprint, I can put it on it will open, right? But it's more difficult to use biometrics than passwords, because you're not guessing somebody's face or guessing somebody's thumbprint. You have to actually get the actual person, to get them to give you access, so you can get access. And if you watch movies, sometimes some of the movies I watch, you have hackers, and I watch those movies, and they will cut the person's finger off. And and you give them access, because all I need is a thumbprint, right? Because then the geometrics of your finger to unlock whatever device. I mean, if it's so the more information you have access to, what we need to understand is the more information we have access to, right, the more persons who want to get that information, a person can use that information. So hence I spoke about LinkedIn earlier, because a lot of us, like I said, when I need to find information about somebody, first place I go to is on social media. And a lot of us, because we have this certification, we have this degree, we have this, I work here, we put everything on LinkedIn. But what that does, an attacker can see who you are, and they can determine, okay, you work for this company. And they'll say, okay. Then they'll find somebody else who works for the same company. And they can use that information against you, because all information about you is already there, because they have information about you. So we have to be careful. I know we want to post stuff on LinkedIn, we want to post stuff on social media, but it can work against you. And it just depends on who you are and what you do, what you have access to. Then I can determine, okay, I need this person or I need that person, right? And also, let's say I want to know what's your username. I may get your password, but I may not get your username. But then I can know, okay, this person works for this company, and they have something like calls a naming convention. Means most of you that work in most of us that work in organization, your username is usually your first name, that last name, first initial, last name, or it's your last name, first name. Am I telling some truth here? That's what it is, right? And hackers pay attention to that. So then I can guess that. I'll try that combination, then I have a username. I don't need to, I can try that. Then I use other means of getting your password. So that means now I have your full credential, I have a username and password. Now, we have something called your two-factor authentication. Meaning, I'm using more than one. That's why I mentioned earlier, I spoke earlier about layers of defense or layers of protecting yourself, not just using a password or just biometrics. You can combine both. We have a lot of ways of doing that today. Because a lot of companies that you sign up with today, they tell you, they will ask if you want multi-factor authentication. And some of us, we're lazy, we're like, I don't want to do that because it's not important. And I know because a lot of people, I've seen a lot of persons get hurt because of that. Right? And today you need a code, you need a password, you need a code. And you can use the two-factor authentication, meaning you can use your biometrics, and you can use the passwords. So if somebody get your biometrics, they don't have your password, they're still authenticated, so they need both. In some cases, extreme cases, you can do three-factor authentication, right? You may see the term MFA, which means multi-factor authentication. That's what that is. So if you sign up for, I know you say, most say your bank, and they say to you, do you want multi-factor authentication? Please use it. Because it gives you a second layer of protection on your credentials, on your identity for your banking information. All right? Next slide. Okay, a next way it's social media, but this is more driven by AI called deepfake, and I'll get into that a little bit later. And that has to do with something they call impersonation attacks. Now, I don't know if some of you, when you're on, let's say, YouTube or whichever platform, social media platform you're on, you would see the Prime Minister comes up and he's talking about some deal that you can get if every person in Canada can get $1,000, blah, blah, blah. He tells you. And it looks like there is the Prime Minister talking. But it's not the Prime Minister talking. Don't let that fool you. It is not the Prime Minister talking. That's what somebody call deepfake. And they can use the Prime Minister. They can use anybody. So that's why I said earlier, remember I spoke about the voice capture and playback. So that's what they do. They'll capture your voice. AI with them manipulate your voice so it sounds like you when you speak. So all they don't need you to read the whole sentence. They just need that little clip. That hello, hello. That's all they need. Then they can use AI, manipulate that, and they can use it as a playback on some image of you that they get. AI, we'll talk about AI a little bit later. All right? So they can use us, and that's what we call deepfake impersonation. Now, I've actually seen this happen in real time. Where we had an organization where the CEO, and he called, I think she was a secretary, and he called her. No, she was in charge of accounts payable, and he called her, and he was telling her he needed X amount of dollars wired to this account. So she was like, okay, she's not sure about that, right? So she decided to say, okay, she was somewhat smart because she said to him, you know what, can you go on video? I want to see, you know. And he said, okay, no problem. Turn on the video. It was him right there. Yeah. All right. And like I said, I saw this happen because when I did the research, when I did the investigation, I captured a video that was used and the image of the person that was used also to make that video, and then use AI on top of that to answer certain questions. Right? The only reason that got stopped was there was a second person who was supposed to authorize the transaction. And when they contact that person, the person was like, I don't know anything about this. And that's the only how that was stopped. All right? So these things are real. They happen. You may hear snippets of it, but they do happen for real. It is happening. Okay? And thanks to AI. But again, we'll talk about AI a little bit later and how we can protect ourselves with AI. All right? Next slide, please. Okay. Next, very important topic is safe browsing and lesser remote work. Because a lot of us, we work remotely. A lot of us, we go, we go a lot, we use our, we always on our phones. And we always browsing, we always doing stuff online. But one of the things we need to be careful of, and let's talk about Wi-Fi. There's a section of Wi-Fi, but I'm going to touch it here. Public Wi-Fi and the risk. There was a big risk. And because a lot of us, when we go somewhere, we go to a hotel, we go to, I don't know, we go to somebody's home, we go to anywhere we go, and there's Wi-Fi. First thing we say, oh, what's the Wi-Fi password? Yeah, I know. I've seen it happen. First thing we ask, we go to a restaurant, before we even sit down, can you tell me what's the Wi-Fi password? However, there's a danger in that, and something we need to be careful also. They have something called a rogue network. All right? And as an attacker, what they can do is, remember, the attacker has access to that same restaurant, that same hotel. They can go, like a man mentioned, the reconnaissance phase. Let's say I know a CAO is going to, or let's say I know I'm trying to get information from somebody, they're going to be in a particular hotel, in a particular space. And that means I get information by doing reconnaissance on that person. And I decide I'm tracking this person, and I can go there, I can set something they call a rogue network. Right? And you go and you connect to that network. You know what that means? You're connected to a hacker network. So that means the hacker will have access to your device and your information. All right? So, I'm not saying that when you go places, they'll ask for the Wi-Fi password, but I mean, data today is so cheap, right? We all have data, it is so cheap. But there are dangers, right? We have to be careful in stuff like that. Sometimes we go to a coffee shop, we go to Tim Hortons, or we go to Starbucks, and we ask, we try to get the Wi-Fi password. Some of the Wi-Fis are guest networks, and they're open, they're free. Do you know a hacker can do that also? A hacker can create a fake network and have you connect to it. Right? Matter of fact, I can do that right now and show you. It's easy. It's simple. It's very, 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 very easy to do. And then when you connect back to, so that means when you're now connected to my network, I have access to your device. I have access to you. I have access to everything that you, let's say. Then I can actually install an application on your phone or your laptop that will then steal your credential. I can do that. Right? I can do that at that point. Right? So we got to be careful when you go to these public spaces and we're using Wi-Fi, we have to be careful. Right? Because now, if you decide you want to go and you're using, let's say, well, for me, let me tell you about me. What I do, I have a VPN installed and everything. Not only for work, but I have VPN installed on my personal devices. Right? And my home is protected the same way also. And my family wants to get out of the internet, there's a VPN. They don't even know, but they don't have to know. Because I track everything, and I don't know if they know that. All right? So there are VPNs. A VPN is something called a virtual private network. And what a VPN does is it creates a tunnel between source A and source B. So it creates a tunnel, a protected source connection between yourself and the destination, wherever you're trying. Let's say you're trying to go to google.com and you're at home. It's going to create a connection, a tunnel, a secure tunnel, and a secure encrypted tunnel between yourself and google.com. Okay. All right? You can create a connection between, you'll create a secure connection between your home net, let's say it's your home network and Google.com and Google.com. So then you can go and you can now securely transfer information between Google.com and yourself. It's a secure connection. But if you're not using a VPN, it means it's like you're going out you just decide to go outside and let's say you go on the highway. You go on the 401 and you decide to just run on the 401. Eventually you're going to get knocked down, right? There's no protection, right? But if you can create a secure connection between, a secure channel between yourself, where you're coming from, which would be your source, wherever you are, and your destination, you're more protected, right? So we can start using VPNs. One of the VPN that I use, especially on my my mobile devices, something called NordVPN. It's not very expensive. You can download that on your cell phone. You can download that, and you can actually use that. Because most persons use their cell phone. You can actually use it on your cell phone. All right? And for the let's say for malware on your cell phone, right? There are actually antivirus you can actually install on your cell phone to help protect you from malicious codes. Right? And another thing, when you have your cell phone, there was a lot of times where, let's say an attacker can install something, an app on your phone. We got to be more careful because you have to do something called app control. Know what app is on your phone. Know what application you have, not only your phone, but your mobile device. Because the hacker can install an app on your phone or any mobile device, you don't know it's there. Because a lot of us, we're not conscious, we don't check. And some of us, we have so much apps. My gosh, we have an app for everything. So if a hacker install an app on your phone, you won't even know. Because you have so much apps on your phone just sitting there. And we don't use half of them, huh? But we have them. Right? So we have to be careful. We still have to be careful. Right? Because we can use it. And I remember, you're not only protecting yourself, you're protecting others. And you're protecting your identity. All right? Okay, next slide. Okay, back. So we're still a bit on Wi-Fi a little bit. So we have something called war driving. Right? Let's talk about that a little bit. So believe this, and I've done this many times, where you can, even your neighbor, in your house, and you can connect to your neighbor's Wi-Fi. You can't, because it's right there, right? But what we need to learn to do, and I can help persons who needs to know how to do this, you can create boundaries for your Wi-Fi. Meaning, when you step outside your house, your Wi-Fi won't work. It would not work. They would not see the SSID, which is the name of your network. So you can set the boundaries, and it can be only for inside your home, right? Because what hackers can do also, like I said, I've done it many times, you can go around and you can see persons' SSID, which is your network name of your network. And then a lot of us don't change it because you see it's Bell, this, whatever. Nobody changes stuff anymore. All right? You can actually see it. Right? So you can set up boundaries, even from the router that you get from your service provider, and you can have the boundaries only within your home. Or there's some appliances you can buy which are very cheap that can actually do that for you. Right? So I think I spoke about, so we spoke about public versus private Wi-Fi. You know, most private Wi-Fis, like, let's say your private Wi-Fi that you're using at your home, and public is, you go to any organization, they have like a guest network that you connect to it. But again, we still have to be careful. All right, next slide. Okay, let's skip this and we go to the next slide. Okay, so that is, I think we may have to cut it short because I want persons, if you have questions, I want to answer questions. So I'm not sure, for the generative AI, we may have to, I don't know, secure in generative AI, and we may have to touch that. I think we'll be able to, because of time, right? So I think I'll stop there for cybersecurity for now because of time, and we can, if anybody have questions, I'll try and answer your questions. That's best.
Wonderful. So we'll take offering first so that we're not limited in the amount of questions we can ask, that we can free reign with the questions. So ushers, if you can prepare. Are you not appreciating this? Let's appreciate him. This will help you. The simple little things you will start doing will make you less accessible or, to these kinds of infiltrations when it comes to hackers and just how to protect yourself. So prepare your questions. Prepare your questions. What we're going to do is there are two mics. There are two mics here. If you have a question, you line up and you ask your question. Depending on how many, if there's a lot of people, just limit it to 2 questions per person. And then you can come back and ask your remaining if we have time. If there's not as many, then you can ask your questions. Prepare it well so that it's understood clearly, so that it can also be answered clearly. I already have questions, so I'm ready for you.
Ready? Go ahead.
But let's finish the offering. You can give through PushPay. For those who are watching online, I forget I'm online, so let me centralize myself. For those who are giving through PushPay, find ANFGC Hamilton. You can give by text ANFGC. Text ANFGC Hamilton to the number 77977. You can also give to eTransfer, AF at anfgc.org. And then you can also give through the POS machine. So maybe you're giving through card. You can go to the back there. You will be helped in giving through the card. And then you can give a check. And you can also give through a cash, which is through the envelope in front of you. Awesome. And I said e-transfer, yes. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds to prepare your offering. It's blessing the work. It's doing great things. Hallelujah. Are you enjoying this? Is this making you think? You're wondering if you can do anything online, right? You're wondering, am I even able to do anything online at all with this kind of information? I'm sure there's ways around it. Yeah, I'm sure there's ways around it. There's some people who make their careers off of being online. Even as a preacher, I'm online all the time. It's literally my life. So I'm sure there's ways around it. All right, let us. Somebody has confessed that they have too many apps on their phone. Let's pray. Father, we thank you. We glorify you and we give you praise. We are given cheerfully, knowing that things like this, programs like this can be offered because the lights are on and we have a building to facilitate it. Due to the giving and the blessings you have given us for us to give to your work so that we can do more of these kinds of programs with a building accessible to us at will. Lord, we thank you once again. We glorify you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. If you gave, you tap through your, yes, wonderful.
And there is something I didn't get to mention. There's a lot of other things, but however, because of time, the subject of social media, and a lot of us have children, and our children are on all these different social media platforms. And the things we do on social media, I just want to say, don't forget, whatever you do on social media 10 years ago, it can harm you 10 years after. So we got to be careful what we post, what we put on social media, because it can affect you. It can affect you getting it can affect you get a job. It can affect you in so many ways. Because don't think because you put it on social media and you delete it, it's deleted. No. Because one of the things I also do, I do research, and I find people. And sometimes I can find stuff from 10 years ago. All right? And especially if you want a particular kind of job, and who you are as a person, they need to know who you are 10 years ago. They're going to go back 10 years ago, and you can get information about you. So, I know we have children, I know we post things, and we had a life, and we want to do this, but let me say this to you, be careful what we put or post or what we do on social media, any social media platform, because they have an obligation to hold that data. And when they say deleting data, it's not deleted. All right? You can still get that. That data is still available. Because remember, it's on somebody's server somewhere. And it's either a government hold on that or something. So please, let's be mindful of that, and especially our children. What we have them, social media sites they can go to, what they do on social media, because it can affect their life. All right?
Wonderful. All right, so if you have questions, you can come to these. I'll ask mine first, and then those who have questions, there's to your right and to your left, all right? All right, so when entering a password on a computer or a device, there is often an option to show or hide the password. Does it matter? I know passwords are not your option, like your number one choice. You've advised us about that. But until we cross over to the other options, does it matter whether you use that option or not? And you said there is a whole system where you can just find a password because it's an obvious, by research of people putting their information out there. So the second part of this question is, what if, sometimes we can generate passwords and it's with all these hashtags and symbols, and can that also be hacked as well? Can that also be found, or is that makes it more difficult for the system to find it?
Let me answer your first question.
Yes, go ahead.
It doesn't matter if you use a show password option or not. That should tell you something. That should tell you if you can go show password, because when you enter a password, remember that password is stored somewhere. Mm-hmm. And it's stored together with your username and password. Not just a password, it's stored, it's a collection. Right. It's stored in something called like a SAM file. It's stored somewhere. So if I'm a hacker, if I get a hold of that file, I get a hold of your information, in plain text, if it's not encrypted. So it doesn't matter.
So they can see it regardless?
It doesn't. No, it does not matter.
Okay. And then my second question, and then I'll allow others to ask. When a hacker calls you, like you had shown the option, and they do many times. I got into, one time I cussed out, not in a swear word, but I cussed out one of these guys who are from India somewhere. And I told them, you better get off before I deal with you. And then they swore at me and hung up, right? But let's say a hacker calls me, and I say nothing. But I still hang around with the phone for maybe a minute or 30 seconds or 20 seconds. Am I still hackable?
No, there's nothing, because you haven't said anything.
Okay.
There's no capture, and there's nothing to play back. It'll be his ear.
Because, when you watch the movies, they say as long as you're on the phone for this amount of time, that's when you get hacked. But
so in data world, there's something called packets. Mm-hmm. So something has to happen to generate data, And if you do nothing, there's no data that's generated.
So if they call me, it doesn't necessarily, if I say nothing, it doesn't give access to my,
nothing.
okay, thank you. Next person.
Okay.
Your mic is not on.
I think the mic is on.
No, but because of online. Mike, upstairs, Mike, blue mic. Yeah.
So just to piggyback off his first question about the passwords, you know how like on my phone they can generate a password for you.
Mhm.
Is that the is that good thing or a bad thing?
A password generator?
Yeah.
A password generator is, I would say it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
And the reason I say that too is because remember there's something generating the password for you.
And that's another question. So updating, because my phone also, I have to update my software every so often.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Okay.
That's a very good. You should.
Okay.
Because the reason why they're telling you to update your OS on your phone or your computer is because they found something that they need to update that will prevent you from, let's say, getting hacked or getting compromised. Your phone or your computer from getting compromised. So it's something called like a hot fix. So it'll fix that problem. Because a lot of these applications, they have holes, and people will find holes. Because one of the jobs I do also is I go and I look at applications and see if they have faults. And then I report them. So a lot of times when that happens, then they have to find a way to, we call it a patch. We have to patch that.
So can I still get hacked, even though I do frequently update my software on my phone?
I would advise you to always update your phone. It may break some stuff sometimes. If you're a corporate business, you got to take a little more precaution. But if it's personally, getting hacked, like I mentioned, getting hacked is not something that happens overnight. Because you getting hacked may take time. Because even if you update the software, that doesn't mean you can't get hacked. Because you can have an updated software, but I can use social engineering to get to you, and then I can get access.
Like social media?
Via, social media. Yeah.
Okay. So how dangerous is the dark web?
Could you repeat?
The dark web. How dangerous is the dark web?
How dangerous it is?
Yeah.
The dark web is like a secret society.
Okay.
Let me leave it there.
Okay.
It's a secret society.
So can you do anything about it as a cybersecurity person?
Like I said, it's a secret society.
Oh, so you can or you can't?
What if you can do something about it?
Like, 'cause you said
It's like you're saying, okay, let me put it in this context. We have a lot of drug cartels around the place, and we have all these people doing all these bad things, and we have so many police officers. We have the feds, we have the CIA, but they still exist.
Okay.
I'll answer the question that way.
Yeah, my last question. How dangerous will AI be in the near future?
AI is dangerous right now.
So would it be more dangerous in the future?
It will, yes. It will get more dangerous, yes.
Is there going to be anything good about it?
Let me say this to you. AI today, I don't know if you heard about Meta.
Yes.
AI today can find a vulnerability in a software and exploit it in seconds. A hacker will probably take a day or two. AI does it in seconds, can do it in seconds. It can find, matter of fact, they have AI today that can look for vulnerabilities. But what they find is happening is it's not working the way it should work. So what it has done, and a few companies that I know that are hacked by this, the AI that was the one that caused the hack because it used that vulnerability that they found in the application and hacked the company. So hackers can use that to find vulnerabilities within the application and exploit that using AI.
Okay.
Okay, you were talking about the two-way authentication, either the thumbprint or your password. You can use the two.
Yes.
I did use the two, and the thumbprint I did, the next time I put my thumb there, they said it doesn't match. I've done it so many times, so what should
Because
I do?
it's gonna use a geometric of your finger. Let's say you get a cut on your finger. It's not gonna match anymore because the geometry of your finger will no longer be the same. Even if you go wash your hands too many times, it's gonna distort the geometry of your thumb.
Okay.
So you may have to regenerate. You might have to do it over.
Okay. And then my second question.
Re-enroll in for that.
Yeah, we've known all the time that ethically, when you respond, when you pick a phone, you should say hello. But now, it means you pick it and you are standing on, or you do So yeah, because
I understand.
how are you going to you pick the phone and you are standing on it?
Now, I can give you my technique. I'll tell you what my technique is.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I usually give it a few seconds. Now, if you have, the service providers today, they will tell you this may be like a spam, or they tell you.
Yeah.
And it's not 100%, it's not foolproof, because there are times it's reporting somebody as spam and they're not really spam. So what I do, I give it a few seconds. And I will go, and I'll pick up the call, and I'll wait like 2 or 3 seconds, and wait for the person on the other end to say something to me. If they say nothing, I say nothing, because you're calling me. So if you're calling me, you're silent, then I'm not going to respond to you. That's my method.
I have 2 questions. The first one, I use WhatsApp to stay connected to my friends and family internationally. I would like to know, have you ever come across any situation where a hacker could gain access to you via phone conversations, or it's very safe, WhatsApp?
No, WhatsApp is not. It will tell you it has end-to-end encryption. However, end-to-end encryption doesn't help you if you get hacked, or if you're compromised, or somebody within that group is compromised. Because it may not be you, it may be somebody else that's within that group. And then what I will do as a hacker, I'm going to look for everybody within your contact, and I'm going to contact one other person, and maybe you. So it is important. There is nothing, let me say this, there is nothing that's 100% proof. That's why I mentioned levels of defense. Defend yourself in layers, not just one, right? Because you don't know. It may not be you. It may be the other person. So that is why you have to always verify. I've seen situations where somebody was telling somebody, "Oh, it's a good friend of mine, but they're saying they need X amount of dollars quickly because they're in a situation." Right? But the important thing is for you is to always verify. Make sure that the person you're talking to is that person. Because I've seen situations where, I remember last year, I was dealing with a client, and the person was in Spain, and I'm talking to the person via Teams chat, but I was talking to the hacker. Because she got, no, on Teams chat. No, text. So I was there texting back and forth. So then I asked the person a question in relation to, because I found it kind of strange. Then I asked the person a question about a particular branch, and somebody in the branch, that part of the team. They could not respond to me. Right? So you have to always verify. You have to make sure you're talking to the right person. And it's about awareness. Huh? It's about awareness. It's not a scare tactic. It's just about being aware of what's happening. When I walk into a building, the first thing I look for, how I can get out. I look for the exit. That's what I do. Because you know what? It's called awareness. You got to be aware. What's happening in this world today is real. And none of us will be excluded, but we just have to be aware of what's happening. And again, there is nothing that's 100% foolproof. Nothing. Only God. There is nothing else that's foolproof. Anything a man makes is not 100% proof. So even with cybersecurity, it's not a set it and forget it thing. I set my security and forget it. You have to still monitor. Right?
Thank you very much for that answer. My second question is, like I showed you on my phone, I have this recently found habit of watching mini dramas, and I'm being paid to watch it. So it had accumulated to almost $80, and it keep prompting me to withdraw, but there's something telling me don't do it. So I showed it to you, and you said it looked a bit sketchy, so I have deleted it. Am I okay now?
Yes. No, I can't say you're okay now because I don't know if there's something else was embedded from that. I can't say. What I can say to you is we have to be careful because a lot of these apps that we use, they have something called like adware. There's a lot of adware in these apps that we use. And we don't know if we have, even those ads, if stuff is embedded in them. We don't know. Right? So like what you showed me, there was something embedded there in that particular app. Did it affect the rest of your phone? That's something I would have to look at. I would have to scan the phone and see if that's the case.
But I didn't activate the account.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
The app is on your phone. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Thank you.
So, a quick question. When you press a link on your phone and you may think you've been compromised, and you quickly turn off your entire phone, does it stop the hack from happening?
No, it doesn't. It does not, no.
I've tried that before, so I'm saying.
No, it doesn't.
Your wife has a question.
Oh.
It's not really a question. I just wanted you to speak on our new generation wanting to go into cybersecurity or information technology.
Where should they
How
start?
where do they start? Because I hear there are courses, short 6 months courses out there that promise you, being an IT specialist, you're making 6 figures and all that. But can they start? And if you can walk them through that.
Very good.
Okay, good question from my wife. Okay, that's a very good question. Because I get asked that question a lot. A lot of people are concerned about, more persons are concerned about the money. Because they see all these postings of 6 figures and they think, let me get into this cybersecurity thing, right? However, and a lot of the times you see these, you see these persons offer all the time. They say, I can get you cybersecurity a job already in 6 months or 3 months. That's bogus. I've been doing this for over 20 years, still learning, all right? Now, matter of fact, just to start a job in cybersecurity doesn't pay you 6 figures. You may start at probably a high 50, right? Does not pay you 6. Now, where do you start? I like to tell people, cybersecurity is, look for the word security in cybersecurity. Means you have to secure something. Now, if you don't know what you're securing, how can you secure it? If you don't know much about technology, how can you secure it? What are you going to secure? So first, if you want to get into cybersecurity, get involved in technology. Understand how technology works, right? Whether it's cloud or whether it's on-premise. Get involved in infrastructure. Get involved and understand how a computer works, right? Because those are that's the foundation you need to protect that said thing. Because for myself, I started as, I used to fix computers. That's how I started. No matter of fact, no, I had my own little printery where I used to print business cards and flyers, and that's how I started. Then I decided I want to I broke my computer, so I wanted to know how would I fix it. And that's how I started, fixing computers, right? And then over the years, you learn how to fix a computer, you learn to diagnose. There's a lot of things that you have to know, understand how a computer works. And then you get into, then I got into, when I went to college, I did information security, which is mainly like development. I was a programmer. Then I got into systems. Then I got into networking. Then I got into cloud. And after I was pretty solid with all those areas of technology, then I decided to get into, well, I started to get bored and was like, okay, I want something else. So now I wanted to do something that would protect all of that stuff. Because in cybersecurity, you're protecting all that. You're protecting infrastructure. You're protecting everything. So if you don't know anything about technology, how can you protect technology? Because if there's a hack, if there's something that is a compromise, and I'm charged to analyze the issue and find out where the hack comes from, I need to know where to look. I need to know what to look for. And if you don't understand technology, you will not know what to look for. Right? Now, there are aspects of cybersecurity that you can get involved with, you can get involved in compliance, which you don't necessarily need a lot of technical skills. However, even dealing with compliance, you'll be dealing with experts who are in cybersecurity, and you have to explain to the person. The person say, well, you're not compliant with this and this and this, and they'll say, okay. You still have to understand or explain to those persons, those professionals, about technology. So I would say, get involved in technology, understand technology, and then you can get involved in more securing the technology. That is my advice.
Wow. Let's thank him again. Wonderful. Any other? Yeah, come please.
Two questions. So one is if you did click a link or there was a malicious image, what's the damage control for securing your phone? Like when would you have to like get a new number, or what's the damage control when, yeah, like I guess you'd have, go ahead.
If you know that you're compromised, so it all depends on the code, how damaging the code is. Now, some codes will work at the, well, I'll say the application layer or the software layer or your OS layer, which is be your Apple software or your Windows. Yeah. It may be at that level. But then some codes will get down to the hardware layer. Right? Now, when it gets to that point, it gets to you something called like a BIOS, which means your basic input-output system, which interacts with your hardware. Okay. Then, even if you wipe the machine, it will still be on the machine. It will still be there because it's embedded. So it depends on what the kind of code that was embedded, how you were hacked. So those are stuff that you can't look at it like, okay, I'm hacked, wipe the application or reset this. Sometimes that doesn't work because a lot of times I know, way back when we used to mess around, we went at the hardware layer, not. Right? So it depends. And then there's ways you can find out, but that answers your question.
Thank you. And the second question is, so home Wi-Fi, you have, let's say, a security camera, you have a printer, you have all these things. What's a way to secure those things, and specifically, how do you prevent your camera from being unauthorized, accessed without your permission? Like, yeah.
Okay. So is it the IP camera?
I don't know.
Okay. So let's say you have an IP camera, right? Like I mentioned before, it's something called everything has an identity, because identity can be given to people, process, and devices. You have to make sure whatever way you can authenticate to that device is secure. So you got to make sure that it's secure. And if you can, there's some IP cameras today that you can actually add multi-factor authentication to that device.
And I heard of like a physical like router or something that you could use to connect your less secure devices, like printers and stuff, to protect them. Do you know anything about that?
You can use the router that you get from the service provider, but if you want to go granular, you can install a firewall. And that'll be like, it can be software, it can be hardware. Just depends on your pocket, right? If you're gonna go, you can use a software firewall, which would probably be on your, like let's say, on your computer, and you can use that to protect. So what that will do, that will add a layer of protection in front of all that you have.
Okay.
So it will sit in front of your. So the way I would say, okay. So because it's software, it's gonna sit in front of the appliance that you get from your service provider, and then it will provide protection to anything that's connected to that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so just have a easy question. Okay, mine is a short question. Is there a way to stop like spam calls, text message from like companies from like, for example, I pay my phone bill from Freedom, but I still get a message saying my card has expired, my card is false. Sometimes that tricks me out like, oh, I just paid, what happened? So is there a way to stop those receiving those fake messages and calls?
Now, the thing is, what we need to understand is a lot of these service providers, they sell our information. They do. And people buy them. The highest bidder, they do sell our information. Right? Stopping is, like I said to you, there is not 100 proof. So stopping it, no, it will never stop. Because they just find a different way. Even if you go and you block the IP address, they'll just get another IP address. Right? So there's no way stopping it. What you can do is to be aware. It's your behavior, human behavior. Because security itself should alter behavior. That's what security does. It should alter behavior. Alter behavior, change culture. Meaning, I'm accustomed to do it this way. Because of security, I no longer do it this way. I do it this way because it's more secure. Right? So it's not going to ever stop. Because you may block that number. They get a different number. Right? They have the software that they can get as much number as they want. Right? So have anybody called you back and say, hey, I received a call from this number? They're using your number. You've never called the person, right? When you check your logs, I've never called this person. But that's what happened.
Okay, my last question. You were saying that when we go to the public places, we should be careful of using their Wi-Fi. Does it include the hotel? If you
Yes.
Go to, wow.
Because these places, they're giving you unsecure connect. Well, I'm going to say unsecure. Because they're not going to, because most of it is that something called like a guest Wi-Fi. So they will have two networks. The protected network where they protect, because they have to protect their side of the network. And the other side that is, well, I'll give you a password, but it's not behind my firewall. It's not protected with all of my let's say my firewall, anything that's going to protect my company. So they'll separate it. So it's actually on two separate networks. So one that's really protected, the other one, they may just give you a password, yes, but I mean, I'm not saying you can't use it, right? But what I'm saying is, especially when you go, always verify, right? I know there's a lot of times you go, it tell you have to go to a particular page, and then, listen, hackers, that's easy to do. That's very easy. That's very easy to do. I can send you somewhere, I can redirect it to anywhere I want it to go, right? And I can then, because I can, building a page, a web page is simple today. I mean, even with the AI today, you tell it what to do. Duplicate this website for me, and it does it, right? There's nothing stopping that. So it's all about just always verifying. You go to the front desk and say, okay, I want to connect. Is this your network? Right? It's very simple. Just verify.
You know, on the cell phone, we have the authenticator where you can put all the information in with a code to open it. Is that safe?
That's a very good thing, yes. That's part of your multi-factor authentication.
So that means everybody should use that option. If you forget it.
But the downfall is if something happens to your phone and the authenticate app,
Yeah, it becomes challenging. It's happened many times. But it's better than not. It's better to have it than to not have it.
If your phone not charged, then
You're in trouble.
there's always a downside. There's
So-
always risk.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so how often do we have to change our passwords? Because mine has been since JFK was shot, and they like to tell me to, they like to tell me, it took me a while to memorize this, so I just ignore it. So how often? And also, second question is, once you go through your courses for cybersecurity, is it easy to get a job?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I'll expand on that a little bit. Now, your first question. I went to a conference once, and they were saying, somebody asked a similar question, and the person said, the presenter said, oh, well, you know what, look at your password like your undergarment. You have to always change it. You have to, because I know people have passwords that they have since 5 or 6 years, and they keep using it, right? No, just to expand on what the second question, you can go through, it depends, because today the market is so saturated with persons, and a lot of people do courses. However, doing a course is one thing. Having the knowledge is a different thing, because some persons just do a course because they wanted to have a course or have a diploma in this course. Did you really understand? Now, there are steps you can take once you have that certification, because you're still at entry level. Now, let's say you're entry and you're doing cybersecurity. There are platforms you can go on, and you can create like simulations. Right? You can create like, let's say a network, and then you can do stuff to try to hack it. You know what that gives you? Experience. Because a lot of times, we will ask the question, what experience do we have? Because when you're bringing in somebody in cybersecurity, at any level, you need to know that they have an understanding. Because security can make or break your company. So a cybersecurity person can make a decision that will destroy your company. So you bring in somebody but it doesn't matter what at level, they have to have understand, they have to know what they're doing. Because it only takes one compromise to bring a company down, not 10, just one.
No. This is my last question, is about social media. Since people still use it, social media. Doesn't matter which platform it is, and I'm sure the question will differentiate between the different type of app. But I already assume, this is my assumption, that posting on your birthdays and all these things can be dangerous. Posting vacation photos when you're on vacation can be dangerous. But is it safe after the fact? Or safer, so to speak? And then, what privacy settings should everyone check on their social media accounts to put in place to make it a little safer? Some people, it is their career. Some people, they're getting into it. So it's not something that is necessarily avoidable for them, but what is the safer ways to do it?
Okay, I'll answer the second one first. There's nothing wrong. I'm not telling you there's anything wrong, but I'm just saying to you, when you put information out there, it's very public. Anybody can get it. Right? So it's a choice you make. But no, everything you do has a risk. Say again? It doesn't matter. I can get somebody who know you. It's all a trust system, huh? It's all a trust system. I trust you, you trust me, I trust this person, but you don't trust that person. But then that person will have access because of that trust we have. Make sense? If you have something valuable, if I want to get to you, let's say you have a business online, I want to destroy the business online. That might be just, I don't like you. I'm just saying. People are malicious, right? or somebody pays somebody. No, let's not take out this element. People pay people, or people pay hackers to destroy other people. Let's not forget that. So the hacker may not even know you, but they know they got paid to destroy you. Right? So, yeah, sorry. Huh? No, so could you repeat? Go ahead.
So the settings to put in place in your social media app.
We're talking about settings. Settings is one thing, but again, it's always, like I mentioned to her, it's a trust system. It's about awareness and layers that you can apply. It depends on the social media that you have. So there's nothing wrong with social media. I'm not saying it's all bad, right? But the important thing is awareness. Be aware of the risk that can happen. It's a possibility that something can happen. Are you willing? Can you take that risk at the end of the day? Can you take that risk? Is it okay? Can you absorb it? Is it fine for you? No problem. So, for me, personally, my footprint on the internet is very small. Tiny. I only put on the internet information that I can afford, that I want people to know, and the things that if anything happens, it doesn't matter, I don't care. Right? So, my footprint on the internet is tiny. So most of the times, let's say I'm dealing with a big client, and they want information about me, they have to come to me. They say, oh, I went to your LinkedIn, I didn't see this, I didn't see that. I say, yeah, because I didn't put it there. Right? When you get to a certain level, you have to understand it's a risk. Because if let's say I am a CEO for a particular company, you know what that means? You're a greater risk than somebody who is a small analyst. You have access to more information. So if I can get your access, if I can get your level of access, right, I can do bigger things with you. Because we have something they call spearfishing and whaling. Spearfishing, I come directly to you. Whaling, I'm going for a big person in the organization that has the information that I need, that I know they have. So you put the information there where I can get it. That's fine. You can put it there. But remember, there's always a risk. What's that? Yeah, but because what a VPN does, it gives you a secure connection from point A to point B. But you're putting something on a site that somebody can get access to. VPN doesn't stop anything from that. VPN doesn't protect you. VPN only protect you from getting the information securely from point A to point B. Now, once you get to point B, can I get it at point B? No, there's another thing. If I want to get to you, you have a VPN, I put something to collect the information at destination. So I grab the information at destination. So you may be secure from point A to point B, but when you get to point B, I put something right at point B and grab that information at point B if you're not secure. So there's always, so that's why I mentioned there are layers. You gotta be done in layers. Right?
Before we're about to close, but I think one time you said it, so maybe to end on a hopeful note. You said that let's say we are in a game, like a basketball game, a baseball game, and people can also try to hack your phone, get information through either the network or in passing, they have a system that they can get access to your phone. But you also said that we can turn off our phone, and that becomes very difficult for them to, actually nearly impossible for them to hack it, unless you turn it back on. Is that true?
Yeah, if you're off the grid, you're off the grid. Nobody can connect to you if you're off the grid because there's no connection.
Once your phone is off, it's off the grid.
Yeah, but that's back to risk.
Right.
If you don't want, if you don't want something, just don't participate in it, and there's no risk to you.
Right.
So if you don't want to get hacked ever, I'm not saying ever, I'm saying it happens. If you don't want to have the risk of being hacked, don't be on the internet. Essentially is what I'm saying. Right. However, there are secure ways. Is is a secure way saying you're going to put all these controls in place and you're okay. No, but because of how the system is. I know you, you know me. It's a trust system. You trust me, and I trust you.
Right.
Then I find somebody who trusts you, but you don't have to trust me. I get to you from the person that you trust, but you don't know me.
Right.
So I see the web.
I see.
That's what it is.
So if you see yourself being deleted from the WhatsApp community, it's because you've been hacked.
So mine isn't questions. I just took note of some suggestions, I think, just in relation to what the questions or some of the questions everybody has been asking. The first suggestion I have is regarding calls. If there is no
By
call,
the way, it's also his field as well, cybersecurity.
well, but he's way advanced. So, I'm still a rookie, so, but basically, if a phone call gets on your phone and there is no name tied to it, let it go to voicemail. Nobody's gonna die, okay? If they don't leave a voicemail, it's not important. Move on with your life. Like he said, one of the things he said is, if you're not ready for the risk, don't participate in it, okay? So if you don't pick up the call, they'll be fine. If they leave a voicemail and you know the person, then you call back, okay? Then you know who you're calling and you know what the conversation ought to be. I think iPhones and I think maybe Android have call screening application or settings. So it would actually answer the call for you on your behalf and then ask the person, who are you and why are you calling? What I do is this, I just look at my phone. If you say nothing, that's you and AI talking. So I've forgotten what it's called. I mean, I know on iPhone it's Apple Intelligence. So it will pick up the call virtually, but on you, yes, it is in your settings. So it will pick up the call virtually, but on your phone it still gives you the opportunity to answer, but you can look at and read what the person's responses are. So sometimes this is how I avoid sales calls, spam calls, and things like that. So let it go to voicemail, you'll be fine. Another one is for passwords. You know how I think a couple of years ago, they still do now, how they tell you, oh, if you provide answers to 3 questions, then they would get you to reset your passwords. Please don't answer those questions with the right answers. Don't put in your birthday, your favorite pet. Don't put in your first car. If they ask you what's your birthday, okay, find your grandma's birthday and put it in there. Okay. If they ask you what's your first car, put in the car that you dream of driving. Okay. If they ask you what's your best friend's name, find the teacher you hate the most. Put it there, okay? Don't put the right information there, because the thing is this, like he said, when someone goes on the internet, that tells me a lot about you. It tells me the school you attended, tells me your friends, because you know how people now say on Facebook you can tell their mother, their daughter, their father, and all that? You've given me so much information about yourself already, okay? If you want to, password generator, you also have password managers. So when you can't remember passwords, trust me, even in tech, I can't remember all the passwords. So we use what we call password manager. Not the one in your Google Chrome, that's not as encrypted or safe as much as possible. So you can subscribe or pay for reputable password managers, and yes, they do get hacked as well. So be aware, stay up on the news just in case that gets compromised, because these people will not tell you quickly. They want to save their money first, all right? So just subscribe to a reputable one and you should be able to get your passwords. Another one is regarding password is this. Your password is as secured as where it is being stored, all right? So we can have your password stored in, Facebook has your password stored somewhere. It depends on how Facebook secures it, all right? And then if you have 2-factor or multi-factor authentication, that secures you a little further. We've had YouTubers, major YouTubers, lose access to their YouTube account. And it will take Google a couple of days, weeks, months before they get you back to your account. But by that time, you've lost your reputation, you've basically lost every form of valuable assets to yourself, and that's it. And then the last one I've got is don't open attachments. Verify who it's coming from. So I wish I had maybe we had what to call the screenshot of, you know how you receive an email and then you see the name of the person. I can actually send you an email and claim I'm Bill Gates, but you guys know I'm too broke to be Bill Gates. All right, so yeah, but what the thing is this, it's very simple. You have to actually click something on the drop down in your email that would reveal the actual identity of where it's coming from. Okay, so that would tell you, okay, is it coming from a regular gmail.com? Is it coming from dammy.com? Is it coming from hamilton.com? All right. Also, there are ways to make characters seem as if they are. So, for example, if I say hamilton.com, I can actually say HARNILTON. And guess what? You will just see it as hamilton.com, but that's actually not hamilton.com. Just be aware, be cautious. Whenever you see get an email from somewhere you were not expecting, please don't open you can open the email, but not open any attached image or anything, any link on it. All right? So I think those were just the few things I took note of, and I just thought to share.
Yeah, that's good information.
You good?
And to add, I don't advise storing password. He just mentioned you're good as where your password is stored. You know, sometimes you have a password, you can store it in your browser. That's easy work. Because I grab the cookie from that browser, I get all the passwords. It's light work for me, all right? So, again, and the biggest lesson here should be awareness. And this is why we're here, for awareness. Because we can put all the technical controls, all the preventative controls in place. However, if we're not aware. And one of the things I do a lot is awareness training. And that is to bring awareness to a company will hire me just to provide training and awareness. And people pay big money just to do that, right? Because they have, and they have top-notch security. However, if the persons working for you are not aware of how they should handle situations when they happen, or what to look for, what they should know, then your security is always the weakest link in any security is humans, is us. The controls that we implement, they will not change. Hackers can over time. That's why we gotta update them. However, the weakest link in any security is us. The humans, we cause the problems. So that's why social media today cause 90% of compromise. It's because of lack of awareness. And we want to use this app, and we want to do this, we want to do everything fast. We don't have time to, and the generation today, everything is very fast. They're very fast with everything they do. They don't look, they don't observe. Because he just mentioned, listen, I have application that I can send an email to somebody from any domain. But if you don't pay attention, I will catch you. And a lot of people don't pay attention. What's that? That's time. That's time. I'm an ethical hacker. I'm one of the good guys.
Let's appreciate him. Wow. Oh, you can do better than that. An experienced man in his field. And he has given us his time and efforts, and we are very, very appreciative of that. And feel free at his own discretion for you to talk with him. And I believe this alone has shifted our minds on how we handle technology, our personal, our business, corporate, all of the above. And so we appreciate him once again. Let's thank the Lord once again for his life. Time is far spent. We've taken the offering so we can rise to our feet. The reason why we ask for questions now, because we don't want you to bombard him. He has a whole job to do. All right? So those online, we appreciate you joining us from whichever location you're watching us from. Feel free to subscribe to us before you leave our YouTube. Let's receive the benediction. Father, we are once again grateful that we came to learn in your house something of this magnitude, to better ourselves, to strengthen ourselves, and to help others. We pray that this week shall be a very favorable week, a blessed week. Let your grace, your peace, and your joy remain with your people. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. We'll see each other in the morning for morning prayers.